Hey, ladies and gents, it's Zem, and we are doing the Avorion pretty much from start to finish. I'm going to run this series of videos are going to be running essentially from the beginning of the game until the end game, which of course is defeating the boss in the center. And I'm going to run through everything, every boss, how to jump to the center of the galaxy, all the little tricks and tips, the raiding, the shipbuilding, all that stuff. I've gave kind of a couple videos out earlier where I was just kind of going through some early game stuff. So this video is going to be, or this video series is going to be from start to finish, which I affectionately have called it the Shrike Empire. And we were going to start out. Essentially, I play just single player right now. I really haven't had the time to get into the multiplayer and playing on some of the servers, or even starting up my own server yet. Eventually, this game is a big time suck. I'll be straight up with you. This thing will suck you in, and you might not see daylight for weeks because it is just that addictive. Building your ships and all that kind of stuff. And I don't even actually get into the creative part of it. I mean, if I got into the creative part of it, where I could just sit here and build ships and stations and all that kind of stuff, and spend thousands of hours building ships. Everything you see that I'm going to be doing in game. With the ships and all that kind of stuff, is I built everything on the fly. So a lot of times you'll see my ships that look like fucking flying junkyards. I mean, there's scaffolding and stuff hanging off the side of it. Yeah, it's just I'm playing just in game. I play only with the turrets the equipment I find in game, except for like mining and stuff like that. I do build those, and I'll show you how to build turrets and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, this game, of course, is going to be. We've talked about the beginning of the galaxy and all that kind of stuff. And if you use the normal. There's a couple different settings here. You got normal, beginning, easy, veteran, difficult, hard, insane. What those are is essentially beginners. You're only getting about 2.5% of the damage from the AI ships. Easy is about 10%. Normal is about 20%. Veterans 40, 60, 80, and then of course insane is 100% complete damage that you will receive from AI ships. If you are just starting out this game, because I'm gonna be doing this galaxy on normal. I'm not going to jump down to the veteran, difficult, hard, insane. I have galaxies that are in the insane. If you are just starting out this game, do not attempt to go anything past normal, easy, beginner, or start out those, work your way up. Do till you get how to play the game. Understand how the game is played, or how to play the game. Before you start jumping into the veteran, difficult, hard, or insane, you will get strummed, frustrated, and pissed off. Yeah, so we're just going to do the galaxy I have created right now is a normal normal difficulty. So, not too stressful, but does give you some challenges as a beginning player. Of course, you can start out beginner and the easy too. There's nothing wrong with that. They're just all it is it just decreases the amount of damage that the AI puts out towards you. I usually run the collision model on about 0.25 or 0.5. I don't remember what this one is. Anything you get up into these, you really have to be careful with your flying. Really careful. Even at 0.25, you can fucking slam into an asteroid and blow your ship up. 0.5 is not too bad. 0.75 is not too bad. Full is like literally you bump into an asteroid and you might fucking lose part of your ship. That kind of stuff, depending on how fast you're going and all that kind of crap. So with that said, I'm going to jump into the current one, which I have labeled, of course, Shrike, and we're going to load this up here. And I'm just going to give you a strategy that I've been following to get fairly. Make the game a little bit easier, right? Of course, you're going to get a little bit more. You're going to you have than you would have on the harder opponents, good turrets and stuff early in the game. Where the other more difficult levels, you have to get a little bit further into the actual game before you start finding some of the really good stuff. So now here I'm actually just going to back out of this. This is my current ship that I'm playing with. You'll see quite an evolution in this ship. This is my very original ship, from what it starts out to where it ends up, where I have currently at right now. This thing goes through so many, and you can even see I don't even have a lot of the components covered with armor because I am once again fucking with it. I've changed its design on this. Like I said, I usually do it as I'm in the game, flying through here. constantly adding, subtracting, changing the look of the ship as I go, that kind of thing. So like I said, you'll see this thing look like a flying junkyard out sometimes during the game for that reason. So I'm going to bring up the galaxy map, kind of give you an idea of where I started. This, of course, is the galaxy. The essential point of the game here is to win it is, of course, to breach what they call the barrier. What this barrier here is, you'll see this little, essentially, it's kind of a, you'll see the circle. You can see the circle here around the outside of the galaxy, or the center of the galaxy. This is a rift in space, and you have to be able to get a jump across this rift and get to the center of the galaxy to defeat the main boss there. However, to get across this barrier, you need to find 8 artifacts, and you can only find them on the outside of the ring here. Once you find those 8 artifacts, you will, of course, be able to open a gateway into the center of the galaxy. And we're going to go through all of that. We're going to go through all the bosses. We're going to show you how to find all of the artifacts, where they're at, how to use them, where to find the portals at, to open the portal to get to the center, and all that kind of stuff. Very time-consuming. Yeah, and this game is a lot about exploring. You are going to be jumping system to system from all over the place, looking for things, finding things, crafting things if you really get into it, and essentially, this is the original spot I started out in. I do believe here. This was the original, or maybe it was this one of these anyway, was where I started out originally in the game, and I jumped around through here and eventually found a wormhole, a natural wormhole. I didn't even have to jump it, which brought me all the way up here to the top corner here, and this is where I really started out, moving toward the center of the galaxy. And you kind of follow, you can of course see all the different places I've explored as I moved toward the center of the galaxy. Why would I just take off in this direction? Well, this warp line brought me closer to the center, and as you I'll put this so out in this area here, these outside squares, you're going to run into the material of iron, and then the next material is going to be titanium, and as you move toward the center of the galaxy, the materials keep getting better and better. So when you start out here, where I did out here, this is mostly iron out here with some titanium. And then as you move a little bit further into, say, the next set of squares in here, you're going to find more titanium. And then you move a little bit further on, and then you're going to find some nionite. And then a little bit further on, you're going to find some trinium. You know, so as you keep moving through here and get closer to the center, you're going to find the better materials. So what I typically do, and this is of course just me, is I usually jump from, I try to get as the material that I need, the toughest material, some of the better material, like say for trinium, I try to get to that as quick as possible. I don't fight ships, I don't do anything, all I want to do is try to get a trinium ship. Because this has a little bit something to do with how the game is designed. If you jump around, and you'll see when I'm talking about here, all these little spots right here, usually if they're green, there's usually something there like a faction, right? And they're relatively safe to jump into those green dots, and I'll show you in the video when I first start out, jumping into those green slots. You have a better chance of living, because if you jump outside of that green slot, you take a chance of running into pirates and all that kind of stuff. And then I usually follow somewhat of a, it's kind of a ladder, I guess. You can just you can see as I jump from spot to spot here. Eventually, I found, here this wormhole. So once I jumped from the wormhole, I guess kept moving my way up. I moved my way all the way up to this spot, which moved me closer to the center. By at least a good sector, at least. And from once here, then I just started working my way through and finding these green spots with factions in them. Of course, at some points you're going to have to jump areas that don't have any green blinky lights, and you're going to have to be careful. This is kind of a dangerous move. But once you get moving in here, and I started picking up better materials here. I didn't really worry about weapons. All I wanted to do was get a trinium ship or a naonite ship, because naonites will give you, of course, shielding. And I'll go over the materials as we go through the game. But essentially what I wanted to do was get the best ship I could, as close to the center of the galaxy as I could, without getting the shit kicked out of me. And once I get that, I take this ship that is superior to all the other ships out here, right? Essentially, so if I can pick up material here and build my ship, when I come back out to this area out here, these ships are built out of iron, and my ship's built out of neonite and trinium. Much better material. I have shields now. These ships don't have shields. And what this does is, of course, once you go back to your original area, and you'll see here, while these guys are all pissed at me right here in red, is that early game, you're getting cash from helping a faction, or you're finding valuable objects, and I'll run through that too. But once you get to be the early game, some of the best way to make money, because a lot of times I find it easier to buy your turrets and your components than actually have to fight a bunch of ships. Until you build a ship big enough and badass enough to take on a bunch of pirates and all that kind of stuff, it's best to just kind of steer clear of that stuff until you have enough cash and enough and a really good ship to start really working on those guys. So typically what I do is, once I build this ship of better material than where I started at, I go back. Once I go back, then I start to raid. When I start raiding, I start looking for, I start picking up the materials that are produced in game. Which is interesting is, the only real difference between here and here, from out here next to the edge to back here, when it comes to goods, there isn't any. So this area produces the same kind of goods. So they have Tesla coils, they have Gauss rails, all this kind of stuff they do out here. They have mining robots, they have mining robots out here. The only difference is the ships here are built out of high quality material. Ships out here are built out of iron. So by building your ship here toward this area with neonite, trinium, whatever, and you get shields and all that stuff, and you go back out here, you are God, right? Pick up some nice little weapons in here with some cash that you earn. Bring those better weapons, because you get better weapons as the further you get in. Bring these weapons and bring the ship back out here, and you can raid like a boss, because the goods out here are the same as the goods at the center of the galaxy. So once you pick up these kind of goods, you start building some cash. Once you start getting enough cash in here, we're talking 5, 6, 10 million credits, then you can start really working your way back toward the center here after making this little quick jaunt in here to get materials, and start picking up and building a bigger and better ship and buying better weapons, better components, and all that stuff as you work your way toward the center. You really need that first little cash startup. To me, seems the easiest is to do the raiding on the outside here. If you have a ship that's built out of materials and weapons from here, go out here, raid, get your cash, and then start working your way back down again as you keep building your ship up until you can get into this area where you get into the real good materials and weapons, because you're going to need a ship that's going to be able to survive in here. If you build here and you work your way slowly down and you're trying to pick up cash and you're trying to raid, you're never going to be able to do it real well here. Building that ship right away here, jumping back out here, raiding, building up a big cash supply of materials. It might take a little bit, but once you get that cash built up, it's a lot easier to work your way down into the better materials. So, quick overview of what I do or how I'm doing this first part of the video, just to kind of give you guys, okay, that's what he's doing. It doesn't make sense what he's doing, but yeah, this is what he's doing as I work my way in. So, this is going to be, like I said, the new series from start to finish of the Shrike Empire. And we're gonna work our way through this. So we'll get back out of there, and I'm gonna start with the actual gameplay from the beginning of the game here. So now, like I said, this is what you're looking for in a ship. This ship right here is, of course, I've worked on it to have 2 million shields, 1.67 hulls. This has taken me about 150, probably to 100 to 150 hours of fucking around. I probably not quite that long, but it took quite a while. With an Omicron rating of 54,000, I'm only using stuff I find, turrets and that kind of stuff in game. Same way with the components. The systems that you're going to have to find. This is a full 15 slot system. This is the biggest you can get for this game. You can only get 15 slots, and I'll show you how to get them as we work through the game. You know, crew-wise, I do believe I'm sitting at right about 5,482 crew, and I'll show you how the crew system works and all this happy horse shit as we go. This is, of course, my essentially end-game ship that I've built myself from start to finish. Of course, I have a bunch of other ships in the game right now, and we'll go through all that stuff. So we're going to start. We're going to jump back into the actual gameplay here, and I'll make sure I'll mark that on if you guys didn't listen to me fucking yap for the last 20 minutes about this. You can actually see the start of the start. So with that said, I'm going to jump out of here. So guys, I'm back with the very beginning of the Shrike Empire, and I'm running in my probe. This is what you'll get off the very first part of the game when you first start, and this is a little beast that you use to mine at least iron. And what you're going to see me do here is all I'm doing is building an iron ship. I'm not going to gather a bunch of iron. It is a poor resource to build the ships out of, so I'm only building enough iron here to get me moving to a different sector where I can pick up titanium, which is going to be your early material for your early ship. So you, like I said, you're going to see me here move around. Now I use you can use the space bar, and what you're seeing me here is boosting. Normal speed for this thing is not very fast, but with boost I can get me up to about 300 meters. It does use energy. You're going to notice that when you get into the bigger ships, if you use boost too much, it drains your energy. However, with this little probe it doesn't matter, so I can kick myself up to about 300 meters. Now all I'm doing here is building just enough, or just getting enough iron to build essentially a starter ship. I'm not looking to build a massive ship right off the bat. This thing's just going to get me around through the first part of the game until I can pick up some titanium and start building a little bit better ship. So I'm just mining enough iron, which is usually maybe 1,000 or 2,000 iron. I don't even remember what I need here to build my ship. Now you can use the creative mode to build a couple of these ships before you even start in the game. The creative mode lets you build a ship. You don't have to worry about resources. You can just build a ship. And you want to build, some of the early games, you want to keep a couple ships that are iron, a couple ship out of titanium. You want to ship out of nionite, whatever. But you want to keep those in your saved file, so you don't have to start from scratch every time when you first start on these games. And you're going to see me do that here. My boys play this game as well, so I got a fucking file ton full of ships that they built. I deleted some of them because they play so randomly. Some of them they're just goofing off in the creative mode, and they build ones that look like big flying wieners. It's ridiculous. Yeah, watch out when you don't want to run into shit here. So all I'm doing here, once again, collecting enough iron to build my first little ship here and all that kind of crap. So I'm think I'm getting pretty close here. I got 1,300, 1,400 here. You'll eventually see me go into the design part of it here, which is the little once I get ready to create the flag here up here in the far right hand corner is for creating a ship, which costs you 500 iron just to create one. So you got to make sure you have enough iron, 500 iron to create it before you can even start to build. So you got to make sure you have enough iron in that case. And like I said, when you first start out, there's usually typically a ton of iron laying around here. And I was lucky enough to spawn into a faction. That's the the AI that's currently that owns this system, that's friendly toward me. So that's going to make this game a little bit easier. Sometimes you spawn into a faction that doesn't like you, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to. And that's one of the bigger things about using the difficulty settings. If you put it at the harder difficulty settings, your relations with other factions is usually pretty shitty, and it takes quite a bit to get them to be friendly. Usually when you start out in normal, hard, that stuff, your factions are somewhat nicer to you. Maybe that's a better word for here. So I'm getting close to here, about what I need to start building my first ship. I hope. It's been a while since I watched this video because I got probably close to 150 hours full of video that I've shot in this game. My intention was, of course, to start from scratch and work my way from beginning to end. To give you guys a starter video, maybe that's the better word for it. So there I've picked up a titanium asteroid. You will sometimes find the titanium right when you spawn. Sometimes you won't find them. Sometimes you have to jump around to find them. Yeah, so we're just going to jump in here. We're going to find the titanium asteroid here. We're going to mine him. So the efficiency, your lasers on your whatever your mining lasers or your salvage lasers all depend on. There's going to be efficiency numbered, so you don't get all the material from these asteroids. So this was a 1900 asteroid, titanium asteroid. By the time I get done, I probably won't. I won't end up with 1900 because you don't get a 100% efficiency when you mine. So we started out with 1900. So far, we've only going to get about probably 300 out of this 1900. So these are very low efficiency mining lasers. Of course, as you go through the game, you're going to get better lasers that are more efficient, and you're going to get more material when you take out an asteroid. So about 200, yeah, almost 300, 284 out of 1900. Yeah, that's the shitty part about the efficiency of this of the mining lasers. So I've got enough that I figured enough that I can start out with my building my first ship. Obviously, with this little bugger, it takes a while to get around. So it's nice to have a ship. But you can use this probe at any time, actually, during the game. You'll see when I do this. So, found my first ship. And I'm going to go up here to my ship menu. I'm sorry, my build menu, building mode. And I already have a saved ship here. You can see the sheer number of ships that my children have been screwing around with here. But we're looking for one in particular here that I built. I believe, is he still here? Otherwise, maybe I did start from scratch. There we go. Yeah, so we're just going to apply the plan. He's made out of 350 titanium. He's going to cost me 1,050 credits. That one's made out of 350 out of iron. So we're going to try that, apply that plan. There we go. So, like I said, set a cock of balls. That's all you need for your first ship. So, we are off. We got our first ship here. I need a crew. I need mechanics and all that kind of stuff here. So, to get those, I'm about 175 meters since I have no crew. As you get a better crew, of course, your speed and your efficiency of your ship increases. So you always want to make sure you crew your ships, obviously, right? Because you want the most efficient piece of machinery that you have. So I'm headed here to this resource depot here. I'm going to pull in here to the dock. You can see the docks highlight. Once you you have to get completely right next to them. They'll go green when they tell you that you're close enough to dock. And yeah, we're just going to pull right in here next to the dock. And right there. So press F to lock to dock. And I'm going to hire out a crew. You can do a number of things. Engineers, I need mechanics, but I don't have any mechanics. I also need gunners for my guns when I put them on here. However, I can just use random crew members to fill out the spots for trained mechanics. So you have trained crew and you have untrained crew. You can use untrained crew to cover a lot of these crew positions, which you'll see me do right here. I'm just using untrained crew to cover for mechanics because I didn't have mechanics at this station and I wasn't going to fly around to find them. So you can do it that way. So I'm going to pick up a couple more untrained crew. 6 or so. That's going to cover me until I can find better crew or better crew. But you can use untrained. I use untrained crew even late game. It's just easier to pick them up because they're at every station. Trained crew, of course, gives you better efficiency and all that kind of stuff. So what you're seeing me here do is I'm looking for their home sectors, and they're always nice enough to tell you where their home sector is. So looking around here, and I'm looking for their home sectors. Usually have the best stations. So their home sector is way down there, which is in the opposite direction that I want. So we're not going to go down there and check that one out. So every time you get a chance, the little square ones, you'll see these what they call freighters, and if you ask them where their home sector is, they will tell you. So there's the equipment dock. We're going to see what they have at the equipment dock for equipment. I'm looking for specific things here. It's actually a detector for what we call valuable items, and a lot of these systems have valuable items. So that's what has a quality bolter. I mean, it has much better equipment. However, I don't have the cash. I only have 7,656 credits. So I need credits for this. Double titanium mining turret, which is better than what I got. But unfortunately, I don't have the cash. You can see the efficiency at 22.1. Double iron mining, the efficiency is at 39.1. So every time I take on a iron asteroid, I get 39% of that asteroid. Same with the radar upgrades, turret controls, all that stuff. I'm looking for a specific component, but I can't find it in this station. So I'm going to have to keep looking. However, I do need cash. And this is what you see me do here. I'm panning out almost every one of these systems have what they call a valuable objects in them. What you see me here looking for is, I don't have the detector to know if there is one here. However, you can do it by eye. And you're seeing me floating around here, and I'm looking for a specific thing. It's kind of it's not easy to see what I'm trying to do here. You see me try to use the backdrop, the light. This is a really shitty system to start out with because it's severely clouded with gas. However, I did find what I was looking for here. And you see me zoom in here, and I'm looking for a specific kind of asteroid. These are mineable asteroids. And you find them in a lot of systems. Almost probably 70% of the systems have some sort of mineable asteroid. And there he is. What this mineable asteroid is you'll notice in the bottom right-hand corner here is all these protrusions. It's a lot larger than regular asteroids. Most of the other asteroids you cannot mine. Like this one, you cannot turn them into a mine. This is a mineable asteroid, and this is what I was looking for. I don't have the detector to let me know if it's in system. However, I can just eyeball it and find it. So at 76 kilometers away, and I'm only doing 1,134 kilometers with boost, it's going to take a little while here. Of course, you see I've used up a bunch of energy. I have to slow down, which drops me down, and I boost again. Well, kind of a little trick to use your boost as much as you can, keep your speed up without draining your energy completely to the floor, is to let off the boost, start slowing down again, and then boost again to get over here. So this asteroid right here is claimable, which means I can come up to it and claim it, and I can, of course, either turn it into a mine that I own, or I can sell it. Early game, I sell almost every asteroid I run into because I don't have any intention of staying in this area, so I sell it for cash. And this is one of the easiest ways early game to make cash, is to check out for these valuable objects. Once you get the valuable object detector, which you can find at most equipment depots, some of them are the white ones, which are the base ones, will only tell you that there's something in system. They won't show you where. As you move up the tree and get better ones, they'll actually highlight you, but you have to be within a certain distance. Or when you get to the very end ones, the red ones, the exotic ones, they'll actually highlight the whole system for you and let you know exactly what's in it. From secret stashes to traveler stashes, which are places where you get essentially free cash and turrets, or in this case, asteroids where I'm going to be able to claim here. So I'm going to work up to next to this asteroid. I found him. I've gotten close to him. You can see how much larger he is than the rest of the other asteroids. And of course, the little how it's kind of shaped odd. So I'm going to move in close to him. You have to be within, I believe, 0.05, 0.2. No, actually 0.2. I'm sorry. There we go, 0.2. So now it says press to interact, F to interact, and now I'm going to sell it to this. So what this does is now I've just made 85,000 in credits. It also has increased my standing with the with this faction. By buying and selling from factions, it increases your essentially prestige, right? The more you buy from them or sell to them, that increases that prestige. So if you have one that one faction doesn't really like you, you can buy and sell stuff from them, and that will increase that prestige. So I've got a little bit of cash now. I'm up to 93,000. Now it's time to start adding a little something here to the top of my ship in case I do run into some baddies. I've added my turret of my mining turret, and of course now I've added some triple chain gun turrets. These chain gun turrets are pretty weak, and I don't really want to use them, but it's what I got until a little bit later here. So I've got my crew here. Now I've got to change. I've got to put a miners into them, and this is what earlier when I was bought some of the untrained workforce was for this specific reason. So now I've got gunners, I've got miners, all my turrets are active. So now it's time to jump out of this sector. Got the ship, got some cash. Now it's time to go to explore here. So we've hit this, and the first guy you run into is the adventurer. This is always happens the very first place you jump out of. You want to talk to this guy because he does have a very valuable object that he's going to give to you free. So let's just talk to him here. He's going to tell me how all these things, what's happening. He's going to give you the history of what happened to the event, how these rifts in space came around, how the Zotan, or however you pronounce them, their name has become a bunch of assholes, and your job is to kick the shit out of the assholes. And they are assholes. They will fucking literally try to kill you at every step of the game, all the time, anywhere. Doesn't matter. That's what they do, right? If you're not willing to be hunted continuously, which they will, or try to kill you continuously, because they will, you jump into another system, they're going to try to kill you. Jump out of a system, they're going to try to kill you. So blah blah blah. So here we go. So it's an upgrade for your ship. It allows you to scan for hidden sectors. This is what I was talking about earlier. So now he's going to send me this system for free, just to say thank you, Regu the Adventurer, and yeah, we're just going to dick around here and see what he's got to say. Better materials you'll find to build your ship, build better energy generations, titanium, iron, blah blah blah. No man's space, of course, is where the sectors are going to be. Okay, we're all done. Let's leave out of here. All right, see you, buddy. This is a long process sometimes. All right, so now we've got this component, and you'll see me go look over here and see it's a scanner, radar upgrade. We're going to drop it into our component section. So now this is, we were talking about the green dots earlier, and these are the places that typically have factions in them. Not all the time, but 90% of the time they usually have a faction, which means there's going to be factories, there's going to be space stations, all that kind of stuff, right? There's going to be, once you get these radar scanners and all this other stuff, you'll see yellow dots start to pop up on your screen, right? These yellow dots are, in fact, what they call hidden masses, which means they are something in that system. Usually it's asteroid fields, it might be ships, it might be that kind of stuff. Those are unknown quantitatives. You never know what's going to be when you jump into that system. Now you can jump in with your system with your ship, or if you're not sure, you can also jump in with your probe. You can take your probe to jump in there, and you can check it out to see what it is before you jump your ship into one end or the other. So we've got the generator up and running. Put a little more power to the ship, which is going to increase a bunch of different things. And here, what you see me do is, at all times, every sector that you're in, usually, and this is where you want to build your ships or work on your ships or do any kind of thing that requires you to be kind of down out of the game, is, of course, to be in these sectors that are owned by other factions, right? Pirates and all that other bullshit are going to jump in here, and they're going to deal with, they're going to go after these guys and not you. What you see me doing here is, as I'm going to try to collect a little bit of a bounty here, and all I'm doing is trying to hit one of these ships with with the guns. What that does is, when those ships are destroyed, since you were participated in destroying the ship, they're going to give you a reward. I'm not going to stick around and fight them straight up, because that would be just silly. But yeah, you can jump in there and do that. This is a freighter that had been destroyed, and of course you can see the little things that are floating around beside it are cargo. We're going to go into that in a different part of the video. I'm not even going to try to get into the whole stealing components and all that kind of stuff. So they've destroyed, I believe they've destroyed the pirates, and now what I'm looking for in the wrecks, of course, are free materials, turrets, and any other components that might have popped out of the ship after they got destroyed. And that's what I'm looking for here. There's nothing that fell out of these broken ships, so there's nothing I can use. So, jumped back out here, and we're on our way to the next green dot. And I'm jumping through here looking for specific things. I'm looking for specifically equipment docks and, of course, valuable objects, something that is going to keep me in cash, and also looking for better equipment. And, of course, I'm also looking for titanium, which I need to build a better ship. So, with that said, we are going to stop it right here. We will bring up another episode here when I get to the next location here in the on my journey to the center of the galaxy. So you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.